I'm Chris Jimerson, Executive Director of American Gateways. We're an Austin-based nonprofit that provides legal services and educations for newcomers to America to help them through the legal process of becoming legal permanent residents and U.S. citizens. One of the things that unfortunately happens is a person from a country where they were facing severe abuse, torture, death threats, comes here seeking justice because they've heard about America and what we all believe in as our rights. They come to the U.S. and ask for asylum, ask to stay here and to be protected from that, and they immediately get put into an immigration detention center. They're in this center that's very jail-like. They don't speak the language. They are asked to fill out forms that are in English, and they often don't understand the forms, and they don't know that there's help available for them or that they have a right to an attorney because often it wasn't that way in the country that they came from, and no one tells them that. So one of the things that we do is we have a program where we go into those immigrant detention centers, and we go in 3 and 4 times a week, and we do Know Your Rights presentations so they'll know what rights they have, and then we'll do some specific workshops like how do you ask for asylum in the U.S.? What do you say to the immigration judge if you're going to do that? How do you fill out that paperwork? And then offer them, when we can, actual legal representation so that we can help them through that process. American Gateways also helps a lot of women who are trapped in a situation of domestic violence. What happens is they meet a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident and they marry that person, and that person then applies for them to be able to be here in the country because of the marriage. Well, they are dependent on that person for their legal status, and that creates a power imbalance. And very often that can lead to physical violence, abuse, and the abuser saying to them, if you call the police, if you leave me, if you tell anyone about the abuse, I'm going to turn you in, I'm going to take the kids, and you're going to get deported. And what we can provide that often these women don't know about is under the Violence Against Women Act, there is a way for them to report that abuse and apply for their own legal status separate from the person who's abusing them so that they and their kids can escape that situation. We can find them a shelter that they can go to so they can establish their own lives independent of the abuse, get a work permit, and become contributing members to our community. In 2009, American Gateways provided legal services and outreach and education benefiting over 10,000 people. And while we're really proud of that, the sad truth is that depending on which program it is, there's at least one other person and sometimes up to 3 other people that we simply don't have the capacity to bring into one of our programs because we don't have the available resources. There are estimates that in the Austin metropolitan area, there are close to 300,000 foreign-born persons. What we have to realize, though, is very often people from other countries are undercounted by the very fact that they just got here. So the need is tremendous, and as many people as we're able to serve, there are at least that number and probably more that we're not able to provide services for simply because we lack the resources. You know, it is a challenge to help these newcomers, help them go through the legal process, get used to our culture, get involved in their communities and make a new life for themselves. But I always think, you know, if it was our kids that were threatened, if it were our kids that might be tortured, that might be put into prison simply for a religious belief or a political belief, you know, we would take them somewhere where we think they could have a better life and have a hope for a life at all.